Hello, my name is Cynthia and welcome to my Flosstube channel. I'm happy to be here with you today to share with you my cross stitching, my crafting, and some things I've created over the last couple months. Today is Friday, June the 9th, 2023, and it is late in the afternoon. I've actually been toiling away at my sewing machine, which has been one of the reasons I have been procrastinating on making a video. I had several finishes that had been stacking up, which is very unlike me, but it's finally ready, and for the most part I have a few things to fix, but I am excited to share what I have for you today. I have several different piles in front of me. It has been quite a few months since I was here, so I appreciate your patience with me. I'll share a little bit at the end about what's going on. Looking up, things are better, but I have a pile of Adam and Eve whips and starts and finishes, and I have some monthly different installments that I've made for my kitchen window that I like to do, and one thing that I've kind of invented, I think. I don't know what to call it, but you'll have to help me. And then I have a pile of patriotic pieces. I finished a new little collection this morning, and I also have some previous finishes that I want to share in the patriotic section. And then finally, I've got a whole bag of different gifts and haul that were given, some of which I will be sharing with you in a future giveaway. So I wanted to go ahead and preview that. And like I said, at the end, I'll share a little bit about what's been going on with my family and just what I've been up to. So let's go ahead and dive into the Adam and Eve pile. I may have some interruptions as it's later in the day than I wanted. I have two older girls that are going to be maybe coming and going. So I might have to stop that and edit it out if you see a strange break come in. But let me start with the first fully finished item. Yeah, I have several. The largest one for sure, though. This is my sampler. It's been on Instagram that I finished for my first Adam and Eve. And it doesn't initially strike you as an Adam and Eve, but you can see the little couple at the bottom there. That is an apple. And then they are in front of houses and, sorry, I'm already getting distracted. In front of some houses and talking about the fruit of the Spirit. I did change a few of these flosses for some Victorian motto sampler threads. I know the bottom one, this is all charted in MPI silk, which doesn't have any variegation. And so I use DMC except for the bottom row, I know is a Victorian motto. And then I used some other DMC colors. If it was just a little bit bright, I toned it down. For example, I know the sun was a little bit bright, and so was some of the strawberries, but otherwise it's all called for. I changed the pets, which I think I shared that I was going to be doing that, and there they are. There's Dahlia, my dog, and then my two cats. The original pattern has two white dogs, and I just kind of made up those cats. One of my cats is bigger than the other. One is a tortoise shell and one is a tuxedo. So there's Gandalf and Roxy and Dahlia. And I really love the way this came out. Fortunately, it does fit on a 28 count in an 8x10 frame. So I used this was from Goodwill. It was kind of a light pine color. I painted it black, and then I painted it cream with some just you know, Hobby Lobby craft paints, and I distressed it, which I thought kind of made the rustic look kind of work in my house. And I do intend to put it, I'm missing one of my frames here. I noticed it when I sat down because my husband's always knocking his shoulders. He's very broad shouldered. He knocked that one down. And I want to put some of the Velcro on the back of my frames so that they're a little less likely to be knocked down. But I'm going to have one Adam and Eve on top of each kid. So this one was my first, and it is Fruit of the Spirit by Plum Street Samplers. Sorry, I'm a little rusty, so I'm going to say things out of order, but this is an older pattern. I do believe you can find it on the secondary market or at your cross stitch store. I found it on 123 Stitch, but that was 2019, so this was a mania start for me. I will be giving this pattern away though in my next video, so hang tight for that if you're interested. It does have 1/1 stitching with the lettering, and several of the, like the bird, all the birds I think are 1/1. I actually left some things off. There was maybe another bird and maybe another vine, but I was like, I'm good. I get kind of tired of stuff and think that's close enough. Same thing with the vines. Sometimes I get a little bit off the pattern and make it how I want, but for the most part, this is all it's called for. So love the way that turned out. It's a really fun pattern. The next one I've been working on, I'm still in my Adam and Eve section, but now I'm moving on to a whip. And I had hoped to have this finished. I wanted to start a new one in June. It's going to be the middle of June by the time I'm done, but I will show you my next Adam and Eve. This Adam and Eve though, it wasn't as, I'm looking for the cover sheet. Oh, it's right here. It wasn't as big as lots of my projects, so it's definitely doable. This is called Permit Me Not to Stray. Also another older pattern. I like to be inspired by going into a physical needlework store and seeing models, because, you know, this may have seemed sort of quirky and weird, which it is, but it's so pretty in person. So here's where I've gotten to. In fact, my needle is still in play, but I am stitching this on 36 count Winter Moon, just a nice kind of creamy colored linen. And I'm sorry it's not ironed. I was in my, like I said, in my sewing room, just toiling away trying to get everything ready for y'all, and I didn't have time for everything I wanted to do. I had a few color challenges. I think this 10 years going by has changed some of the colors. For instance, is that some kind of a pod? I'm not sure what that is, but in this pattern, it seems to be kind of pink and cream, and the color that was initially in there was the same color as the tulip. It was brandy, which has always been yellow as far as I know, but when I put the yellow in there, I didn't really like it with the peach color. So I used my own subs. I think I used a Gentle Arts, and I can provide the final list at the end if you want. But yeah, I did not use the called for in those pods because they were funny colors. The snake is getting started here. And then this is called for, it's called Tiger Lily. It's got a lot of yellow and green variegation, but I like the way it looks. And my favorite part were those red flowers. I think they're so pretty. I didn't use pomegranate, which was called for because it was awfully pink. I ended up switching that to Cayenne by Weeks Dye Works, and that's what's in the center of this. I think it's called a feather border. It's a pretty antique kind of finish there on the borders, but and they're intensive. They take a lot of time to get them counted, but they're fun. They're not too bad. That's the whole top. I need to go down the side now. And I do find that I have to work it a certain way or I can't get in the groove with this feather border, but I do love it. And then Adam and Eve started on, I did change the skin tone just to the same one as that pod that I had. I think it's, well, it's right here in front of me. Lamb's Wool. Yes, Lamb's Wool by Gentle Arts, which in my dye lot is very peach. So love that. And I think I used a darker teal on those. They're supposed to be like federal blue or some kind of blue, and I didn't have it, so I used a darker teal or blue. But I'd say I'm about, I don't know, 60% done. I definitely have quite a bit steel, but a lot of the bulk of the pattern is just fill in, and I hope to do that when we are in the car on vacation soon. So once again, permit me not to stray. I even got, one of the appeals of this pattern is it's this perfect square. It's 12 by 12. I even got a frame at Hobby Lobby just to inspire me, because if I have the frame and it's all ready to go, I think, okay, you can get it back up on the wall. And what I'm gonna do with this is have it match the same treatment. You know, this was the cheapest that I could find. I think I got it half price. It's marked for $20, so I got it for $10. And it's just, I think it's plastic. But what I'll do is spray paint it cream and then kind of chip it up a little bit and probably put like a wax or even a poly on top of that. And I won't use the glass that's in here. So 12 by 12, just real basic, but it will match the black and white. That way, I like to have things, oh, sorry, I'm getting a battery message. I like to have things in a collection. I don't particularly like to have 4 or 5 different finishes of frames, but I mean, I know that looks cute too, but just for me, especially in the treatment I'm planning, I can find Goodwill frames or Hobby Lobby frames and make them all match just by doing my own paint treatment on them. So that's my plan. So that's Adam and Eve in progress. Here's my next Adam and Eve. And I have 2 fabrics to choose from. Did I bring both those over here? Yes, I did. And y'all let me know what you like better, because I bought some fabric and then I found that I actually had some from a sweet subscriber that I like better. So I'm not sure what I'll use, but my next one I'm really looking forward to starting. Another motivation to finish, permit me not to stray. This is my Mermaid Eden. Is that what it's called? Merfolk's Eden, sorry. And my plan with this one, it's kind of hard to see. You can't even see the mermaid and the merman's skin. These are an Adam and Eve kind of funky, whimsical take. There's narwhals and dolphins. And what I did was intend to brighten it up just a little, and I don't know what I'm gonna use. I did pick this one up at Silver Needle, this Island Blue. I thought that looked like a mermaid tail. And then I have a bunch of just random kind of Wicked Stepmother colors. It's definitely murky. I know Paulette intended it to be, you know, sort of, not primitive, but it's not, you know, it's not a bright island scheme or anything. I'm gonna try to stay with, you know, some of those terracottas still, but as you can see, I love orange and terracotta, so, or turquoise, so that's all good for me. But here's Brown Bear, a bunch of things that I had finished in the past. Like, I know the Brown Bear was my border on, oh, what's it called? While he's even sleeping, you know, just some flosses I know I like. That'll be good for like a trunk of the flowers, or it's not a tree, it's a giant tulip. But you know, I'm trying to stay muted. That's where it's a little tricky, because I love brighter colors, but they still need to be toned down. So I am in progress on that. And the fabrics that I picked out, this is a No Name from Silver Needle. I guess I should look at them with, I haven't even pulled this out yet. It's been in a bag since May when my niece got married and I went to Silver Needle. But here's this background. I wanted the skin tone to show well on the mermaids, and I wanted it to be a little bit murky, like grayish blue. I don't want it to be bright or, you know, islandy. But here's the other one I had, Stormy Night Belfast, from Heart's Desire. A sweet subscriber sent that, and I like this one because it has almost like a wave. I think that's what I'm gonna go with. I like that has like an oceany feel to it, but it's still sort of primitive. So that one I think will look really sweet on there. And it is not huge. It is, let me see the stitch count. Probably gonna need a custom frame though, which is a little bit of a booger, but where's the, well, anyway, I wanna say it's only 200 by 110, something like that, 190 by 110. So kind of skinny and long. And I'm doing it on 32 count, so it'll be just a little bit bigger, but I definitely like that Stormy Night Belfast. That's what I'm gonna do it on, I just decided. Sorry, I asked for your help and then I answered my own question. So, and here's the threads for the Permit Me Not to Stray. Just really pretty colors. I love this threadwork green. It's called Spanish Olives. I use it all the time. It's very nicely variegated. And then Baby Spinach and Tiger Lily were called. Oh, and Licorice Red is one I'm using too. So really fun muted colors, but that's my Adam and Eve update. I'm gonna put that all away, and then I will show you all the monthly seasonal pieces I've worked on, including something that I sort of invented. I don't know if that's the right word, something I created. And then the Patriotic. I'll be right back. Okay, I got interrupted, so let me try this again. I'm showing some monthly pieces that I've worked on. I like to switch displays. For one thing, I can clean around, like on my kitchen window, I clean that every month, and on my island, just areas where it's fun to change things up. So I have this display here that has sat empty for much of the year. The wool applique pieces you can find on Etsy. This is made by So Creative. I did get it from that website. Are So Cherished Stitches. Oh, I'll try to link it below. I know I've seen it on Farmer's Attic on Etsy. It's just a nice display piece for I think it was like a club. It had a round applique, and I do have some of those to do, but because those take me longer, I've been doing this candle mat from Etsy, and I don't remember the name of the designer. It was a printout, and I'll try to find that when I show you when it's finished. But what I'm doing is just embroidering it, and then this is more for all of summer. It doesn't feel as, you know, like 4th of July or monthly, so it's really more of a seasonal piece, but it's got a salt box house there, and the colors aren't showing up very well. It's kind of primitive, but it's a burgundy and a blue, so it does kind of have a little bit of red, white, and blue. And I put the year that my husband and I were married, just kind of establishing our home. And those are going to be French knots, which are not my favorite, but it's good practice for me. So it's going to be really pretty all said and done. And then it will, I'm going to finish it kind of like a, I'll probably turn it out and put some batting in there. So it's almost like a little mini quilt, and it'll go real sweet on this piece here. So that is a whip I wanted to share. I'm hoping I can work on that in the car when I'm headed out on vacation soon. And the other thing I wanted to show you, I actually have June finished from last year. This is the hands-on design, their original celebrations. I can't remember if that's the full name of it. I am so rusty, y'all. I apologize. But this one, a lot of people have already done it. It's maybe 3 or 4 years old now. But what I do is use this drawer from the floral department at Hobby Lobby. And the price has gone up. It says 10, I think it's like 13 now, but you know how that goes. Sometimes they have them on half price. I think I got mine for $5. I just use a styrofoam cube from Dollar Tree, which I haven't been able to find. I'm always on the lookout when I travel to different towns. I'm trying to find a Dollar Tree with these cubes, and hopefully I'll find another one, because cutting styrofoam is for the birds. But I wanted to show you the ones I have finished since I last checked in with you. Here is March, and these are on, I think, 28 count. Some of them I might have done 25, but this one is 28, and it was just an old scrap that I think I had over dyed. And I'm just gluing them on. I was looking at Silver Needle. They have some beautiful cubes that have been sewn. I definitely want to put some fabric around the end, because I'm displaying this in a cabinet right now, kind of stacked together so that they're all out. And I want them to have a little bit more of a finish on the back than this. But here is March, and I used my own colors. I don't think I ever follow what she says. Sometimes I do, you know, similar, but I'll usually use a teal if she uses a blue, and then I like things just a little bit more prim or a little darker. Here's April. I like that umbrella so much, and I know I used a much duller color for the gold, and I don't even know if she had purple in there, but I almost skipped filling in that cloud, but I'm glad I went ahead and did it, because it looks a lot better. It was more stitching than I expected, but that's a cute one, so it looks kind of like that. And I keep the same bow up here. I want to put some different things in the middle, but it's just a brown and white gingham, and then this kind of lacy burlap. And then this one is my favorite colors, but this is me trying to cut some styrofoam that was in some packaging. I had a new bookshelf, and I think that was from there, and oh my goodness, it was hard. But I love these colors. I know that's a Threadworks, I think it's Spiced Peach or something, and then some Victorian Motto purples. But I thought the colors were so pretty. And I did have a little purple pansy in the middle of this one when it was May. So I've got half the year done now. I don't have February and March in here, but they are finished. So 6 months done. And I enjoy, like I said, changing that out. I have kind of a beachy arrangement in my kitchen window, so that works really well for summer. So there's my wheel, my drawer with my monthly, and then this is my favorite finish. And it still needs a little bit of work, but I had the idea for this one's stitched but not finished yet. I've been at the sewing machine so long I wanted to come and film, but you can get the idea with the June finish. This series by Joyful World Sal, no, it's called the Joyful World Sal. It's stitched, or it's put out by Snowflower Diaries, I believe. And I showed it in my plans video. I know I showed all the patterns. I've switched them around a little bit. This is not the January that they have, but it almost looked more wintry, like with that snowflake there. So I made it for January, and I didn't have the right backing fabric, so I didn't finish that one completely yet. But what I decided was I wanted a drum, and I wanted to have each one finished as a drum, but I didn't want to make 12 drums. So I thought, well, what if I made one drum that's just a very neutral color, and then I can switch out the bow on top, and I can switch out each month on the drum base. So that's what I did, and I don't know what to call this, but I think it turned out so cute. Now, I have a little bit of an issue with this lip. I didn't cut my circle quite right, but I have been upstairs for like 2 hours, and I was like, I just need to go and film, and I will fix it when I go for my next finish. I'm gonna have to take this top off, recut it, and make it a little bit smaller. But all I did was take this piece and finish it like a little mat. And the other, see, I do all the bad, or I make so many mistakes so that maybe y'all don't have to. I thought I was using the same count on these two pieces, but they're not. This one is a little bit bigger. So what I ended up doing was just adding some fabric on the back. I really want this to be more visible from the front anyway. It's gonna probably sit in my kitchen window. And so I wanted it to have more of, if I made it super skinny, the month might wrap too far to even be legible, if that makes sense. So I was gonna add some fabric anyway, and since that other month, January, is bigger, I had to. So I made them the same size by cutting them and then adding the fabric. They will be the same size. So even if I wanna use 25 or 28, it doesn't matter. But if you're smarter than me, do the same fabric for every month, and that way your drum is consistent. And I wanted to use, my grandma always used those eyelet hooks. Is that what they're called? Eye hooks. And I thought, oh, that'll be perfect, because I had thought about magnets, like how will I close it around? But the distance between here, I didn't want to be so governed by that. Like, I wanted a little bit more flexibility. So I thought, let me do some ribbon. And that way, if it's a little bit, if it's not perfect, and it is maybe a little snug on one point, I won't have to fight with it. So this way I can just kind of adjust a little bit, if that makes sense. I think you could do the eyelets without having the ribbon on the side if you just wanted it plain. If I had done an eyelet here, which I hope you know what I'm talking about, an eye hook. They're like on the back of your dresses sometimes, stuff like that. I bought a package. If I used elastic on the other side, it would give me a little more give. But like I said, I was just kind of wanting to have this finished because it's been in my head to do this for like a year. And so finally here it is. But let me show you what the drum looks like, just plain. So basically it's just like, it almost looks like a mushroom or something, because I made my top piece of cardboard too big. But basically it's a piece of linen. Dahlia's gonna be bad. Hang on just a second. Okay, hopefully Dahlia has calmed down. My second daughter is going swimming. So this is what the base looks like. It's an old piece of linen that I tried to over dye, but it was that mallow from 1-2-3 Stitch that's got a lot of cotton, and it shrunk so tight. This is probably like a 46, 48 count linen. I didn't want to stitch on it. I started Stables at Hollyberry Farm and I was like, no. So I thought I'll just use it as a backing, or because I think it was like $10 or $12. It's not the cheapest, but it worked, and it's very neutral. So I made this drum, and I should have watched the tutorial again because there's lots of mistakes, but I wanted it to have just like a neutral bow and a white button on top so that whatever, month would work. And then this is what the actual mat looks like. I thought it turned out really cute. I just, like I said, sewed on some ribbons. I could have sewed them in there, but I came up with that too late. This was just some, I think they have those fat quarters at Joann's, that you can get for 99 cents. That's what this was. And it's a little bit crooked, but it's okay. And then what I do, I like to finish it around the edge too, so that basically I sew right sides together, turn it, and I patched where I turned, but you can't even see it. So it doesn't matter, and it won't show. If you don't want to patch it, it doesn't show. I did put some interfacing on the back of this stitching just because I want it to be really durable, because it will be coming on and off and on and off each year. So I wanted it no stitches to be, knocked loose or anything. So there's interfacing that's ironed on the back, and then I turned it. Imagine if you wanted to quilt or something, you could, but this is small enough that I didn't want to mess with it. And then I turned it, and then I sewed around the top just because it looks a little more finished. And this is just an old pair of my blue jeans, which I use all the time. I never throw out blue jeans because I'm like, oh, I love denim fabric. So here it is, like I said, kind of my own idea of, how can I change out a drum without making 12 drums? I wanted a monthly drum, and I think it turned out really cute. I just need to redo that top, and I will do that next time. So here is my Joyful World style, and here's just kind of an example. It's so neutral so that it'll go with anything, and I could put a blue bow on top if I want, and it'll work for every month. And I'm starting on July, which has a dog that I'm going to make look like Dahlia, so it'll be kind of a red, white, and blue one for July, and I need to get that started ASAP. So those are my monthly pieces: my embroidery candle mat, my hands-on design drawers, and then my invention of I'm thinking of maybe a perpetual drum so that it's continually changing, but it's always the same underneath. So hope you can make use of that idea. Hope that's inspirational for you. And let me put this up, and I will get out my 4th of July finishes and plans ahead, as well as sharing with you some freebies and some fun patterns that I found online. So I'll be right back. Okay, this is just an example of kind of how I display a lot of my pillows for 4th of July. I have this trough from Hobby Lobby. It has like some Easter grass in it right now, or just some straw, and I don't have it perfectly arranged. I have more of these stars that I made in the past. I've shown those lots of times. And these were last year's pillows I wanted to share real quickly. This is just an embroidery that I did on some really grunged up muslin, and I did it crooked. So I said this was done by a schoolgirl, but it's the same pattern or same fabric I used on today's finishes, just a star from Joann's and then that homespun. And then this was a favorite from last year, a Barbara Anna piece that's in the Punch Needle Primitive Stitcher magazine. I don't think it's been released as its individual pattern, but I did a conversion, and you can see that on my Instagram last year, or look at last year's video in July. I shared this conversion. I'm still using these same threads for all my 4th of July still. I just basically have a ring that I call my patriotic flosses, kind of like Priscilla does. She has some favorites for spring, favorites for fall. This is my patriotic ring. So I use like Country Redwood, Crimson by Weeks Dye Works. That's what the strawberries are. And then I have this blue from, I think this one is DMC, but I went ahead and got this Threadworks that's super deep blue. I think it's called Navy something, like naval something military, but it gets 20 yards. So I have a lot of that blue. I'll show you a couple whips I'm starting, but I'll use that same palette so that everything kind of goes together. You know, it sort of all coordinates. This I painted, but I like doing my own patriotic pieces because a lot of times things I find in store are just really bright, and a lot of people like that. That's great. But for me, I like more primitive, and that's harder to find unless you make it yourself. So along that line, I found this piece last year. It is by Not Forgotten Farm. I have the pattern here. She called it Colonel Sammy. Somebody asked on my Instagram when I put the unfinished piece on there, you know, is that still available? And I couldn't find it on her blog, but imagine if you search Colonel Sammy Not Forgotten Farm, it should turn up. I know Christy had done it last year, I think a few others, but it's just a cute little pattern that I admired, and I thought, I just want to start something new. Sometimes when you're in a rut, starting a little small is a nice way to get inspired. I love the skin tone on him. I used a floss from my friend Frankie. It's called Nutcracker. It's kind of a super variegated one, but I thought it looked nice and prim because peach was kind of Oompa Loompa-y, and then white was sort of zombie, so I had to find the right skin tone. And I like that it has a lot of variegation. Then I used, like I said, Country Redwood and that blue from Threadworks. Not a lot of colors. I debated about putting some kind of trim, but it already has that, what do you call that when you're doing a rug? It's got the penny round finishes on the edges. So what I might do is I finished it on the back with just a scrap, is put like I like to do a little corner bow and a 2023 charm. So I'm not quite done with it, but it's filled with polyfill and walnut shells. So that one's gonna go in there. And because I like a collection, I'm sort of OCD about it. If I have one piece, I wanna have like a little series. I decided to freehand, and a lady asked, where did that come from? I was like, well, I just made it up. I decided to freehand a star to go with him because there was one on my Barbara Anna sampler. I'll try to put that at the beginning. My Love Never Fails. Y'all have seen it. What I did was copy the star from that sampler, and I just made it a little bit bigger. I think she used like 5 stitches and I used 9. I tried to keep it an odd number. And then because my white didn't show up super well, I put a red 1-strand back stitch around it. I don't like to do that, but I felt like it made it look a little cuter anyway. And then I did that I don't know what this stitch is called. It's some kind of cushion stitch. I don't know. You can tell me if you know, but I've seen it where you start in the corner and you just spiral around. It's almost like a eyelet, but you're crossing over and over, so it almost has some dimension to it. So I like to fiddle with stuff like that. And I'm not done with this because my intention is, just like I did with my Barbara Anna piece, I'm going to put some of these X's. That definitely will make it cuter right here in probably the blue, so that it has kind of a little more finished detail, and again with a pin and the year on the back. But I either have to film or finish, so I had to skedaddle and get down here. And this one, I just wanted a word. I've already done, like I said, USA. I like words that are, you know, shorter, obviously, and America was already done. So I did Liberty with just kind of this little cross, what do you call this? Just like a little hatched embroidery, almost like a back stitch. It's not cross stitch per se, but it's not embroidery either, because I definitely followed the holes. And then I just had a little red dot to the eye, and I will do the same thing with this. I'm going to do red X's and a little thing. So I'll try to show you next time. I was just trying to get down here so I didn't run out of time. We're headed out of town tomorrow, and it'll be a couple weeks before I could film. So here's kind of what it looks like. And I encourage you, you know, you don't, like I said, you don't have to have a pattern for everything. Just use that Brenda Keyes sampler motif book, or even just a sampler you already have, a little motif like mine. I pulled from another one and thought, okay, what goes with, you know, patriotic? And that way they all are just cute and don't cost, because this is a freebie. So this literally is scraps. I would have thrown that away. And, you know, maybe you don't like to use stuff like that, but it kind of gives me a little thrill to say I did that for free. So those were the finishes I had finished up yesterday and then finished this morning with my sewing machine. And that Barbara was from previous finishes. And then here's a couple that I want to pull out and work on. And if I finish this one, I'm going to start one other one if I have time. But this has been hanging on too long. It's a beautiful piece that, oh, I've got a lot more in here than I realized that a lot of people have done. I'm trying to find the cover page for it. I may not have it. Yes, I do. This is Stars and Stripes Forever from Bent Creek. I like it because it's more of a primitive palette already, and it's just simple. I think I saw it with Priscilla first. I'm not doing as bright a blue there, but I am using a blue, and it's just on Hobby Lobby Even Weave. I think I used a really long piece, and I don't need that long a piece, but it's great typography. She does a great job with her lettering, and that pinwheel is kind of classic. So here's the breadth of it, and it's not that hard, but you get a squirrel and then you're distracted. Oh, that's a pretty Americana Red by Victoria Motto. I'm forgetting what I'm using because apparently I added a few. And definitely Weeks Dye Works Crimson. They use like one called Rum Raisin. Oh shoot, I think I did use Rum Raisin, and I hope I still have it in here. It's kind of purpley. Sometimes you look at the colors and think, is that what they really wanted to use? But yeah, I may have to hunt that down. Anyway, I'm going to try to finish that. If I finish that, here's a couple that I would like to try and start. And one of them was a gift. Two of them were gifts. This was one I've seen. I know Carol Saltbeck's Stitcher and several other have done this. My Country, a sweet subscriber sent that to me with the DMC floss, which I've already put on my patriotic ring. They're actually already in here. But oh, sorry, I'm about to run out of battery. Here are the colors. There's only 4 in there. I might brighten it up just a little bit, but that's a really sweet one. It's got more stitching than I first thought, but I do love it and would love to start it. And the other one is from another Not Forgotten Farm, I believe, called Flag Maker. I always wanted to do this one. I think her dress would be pretty in a variegated blue instead of gray. And then I just like that flag and the needle and thread. So this one, like I said, I'm not letting myself start until I finish my Stars and Stripes Forever. So hopefully I'll get some good time. 28 count is easy to stitch in the car. So hopefully I'll get that underway. And then for my Melissa Monday Sal, I have done 2 out of the 3 months. Oh, I forgot to show you February. It's kind of already passed, but I did do a February Little Farmer Annie, or Farmer's Wife Annie Valentine one. And then instead of doing another one of the Farmer's Wife one, I wanted to do this one for summer. It's only, let's see, 50 by 70, so it's pretty small. But I was going to use the same kind of strawberries as I did with my Barbara Anna, kind of those darker colors. So I want to do this jar. Like I said, I got to finish the other one. And then here's a sweet one I found. I don't know where my cover sheet is. It says Sweet Strawberries, and it's by, let's see, Cosmic Handmade. I want to say I found these through Christy Potter, also known as Java Girl Stitches. I want to say she showed this one finished. That's a lemonade one. And I may not do pink with it, but I really love the way they did those ombre colors. That's a free pattern from Sapphire Mountain Handcrafts. There's her handle. But that is from Instagram, and I just kind of did a cut and paste of the cover sheet because I wanted to remind myself why I liked it. So I have a little bit of strawberry and lemonade. Like I said, I have to get that Stars and Stripes done though, so we'll see if those come out. Oh, and one other one that I probably will do because this one's super quick is a buzzy string from Lizzie Kate. I've done lots of these, and I like to put them in a window or in my hutch, and I never did get that one done last year. It has a flag. So it's more of just like a summer watermelon, and these are so quick. So that'll be great on Ada in the car. Again, I had too many car projects here. I'm not sure I can get all these done, but we're gonna probably be in the car for 2 or 3 days. So hopefully I can get some good work. That is what I have planned. Oh, here's 2 other ones that are just really cute. This is a freebie from, let's see, Sub Rosa. This strawberry I think is adorable. It's got some birds up there, and it's not very big. So I love that one. I like to do different shapes. Again, you know, like you've got small and, you know, maybe a square plus the star. And if you have like a strawberry in there, it's just all cute together. And then this one was from my friend Trinka. We traded a pattern and she put that in. I think it's so sweet. So I don't know if I'll do them together. I thought about doing them individually and having 2 pillows, but I like the way they're holding hands. So that's another one I'd really like to get to. So there's some 4th of July inspiration. Hopefully at the beginning of this video, I'll have shown a little glass hutch where I have all my patriotic pieces together, because I'm not showing you all of them. And then I might pull some out for my next video, hopefully within the next couple weeks. So let me put all this up and I will show you some of my haul and things that were sent. Again, that I will be sharing with y'all in some giveaways. And I think that's all we have. So hang on just a second, I'll be right back. Okay, I received quite a few gifts in the mail and I've just piled them in my magazine rack, and I wanted to share them just because I'm going to be giving some away. So because I'm doing Adam and Eve, a sweet subscriber, I don't have permission to say everybody's name, but thank you so much if you sent me something. I really appreciate it. I will be picking one of these and then giving one away. This is a beautiful antique Ellen Spedding 1832 from Merry Wind Farm. Always like her, and I don't want to be too wrinkly, but that's a nice size one, 241 by 262. Very pretty. The verse is a bunch of names, and oh, it talks about the grave. Kind of a little dark, but and then this one is a little bit smaller, but it's very pretty too. This is from Merry Wind Farm again, and it is called, let's see, Mist on the Mountain, Martha Ford's work, 1849. I love those striped birds. And that's a honeysuckle border, which is really pretty. Looks like there's some over one on there, but that's a beautiful one. And those Oompa Loompa Adam and Eves are great. Thank you so much for sending those. Like I said, when I get to my next milestone on the channel, I will definitely give away one of those Adam and Eves. And I have several here I can share. This was very generous from another subscriber. Some Little Winter Petites. I think these are newer. I could be wrong. Maybe they've re-released them or something. And then some winter pillows from, I don't know how to say this, Crochetta Go-Go. Isn't that cute? I got these probably back in January or February, so I'm sorry it's taken a while. This is Seasons of the Heart Autumn by Janine, a blue flower. This I think was in the magazine, the Primitive Stitcher magazine, because I want to say I have another copy of that in my magazine. She did a season of 4. Such pretty colors. Janine's great with color. Here's a classic Plum Street Judge Knot. That's very cute. I want to say Dina did that with half stitch cross stitch. I've never done a pansy patch manner, but I've seen several of these and admired, always with the quilt motifs. So cute. It's a really cute winter one. And then Teresa Kogut is always one of my favorites. I wanted to do these in punch needle, but I probably would do them in stitching. I think there's a series of these. They're so cute. And then another Plum Street. It's a deer pulling a sled. I have several things. I always like things that are being pulled, like carriages and carts and things. This is a punch needle. I definitely want to do this one. A bunch of snowmen, Let It Snow. I might brighten that up just a little bit from brown. I might do blue, but it's so cute. Another snowman. Here I am in Texas stitching snowmen, but that's okay. And then this Dimensions kit. I don't always like Dimensions kit, but this one, right up my alley. And it's a kit with all the floss. I don't think I'd use that fabric, but that's fantastically organized, and I love that. Those designs are so pretty. I would love to make that. Thank you so much for sending it. And then a couple of magazines as well. Just some older ones that have some really cute things in there. So it's such a treat. Thank you very much. And then a sweet card from my friend Merritt. And I did get a lot of flosses from Frankie. I will show Wicked Stepmother. I will show these in the next video. I apologize. I had a giveaway for Frankie with her village that she had in it. I think it's seasonless. In other words, you could do it any time of year. So I'm going to do a reboot and rerun that giveaway along with some of Frankie's flosses. So I'll do a whole Wicked Stepmother giveaway, actually two, one for floss, one for that pattern, and then restart it because it's been too long since y'all would have responded. A lot of people may miss it if I tried to pick from that video. So next time I come on, I will do a Wicked Stepmother giveaway. She sent me lots of floss. Oh, and I also got these patterns. These are so fun. I like to make these primitive, sculpture things, and a sweet subscriber found these for such a good deal. I think that turkey is hilarious. I love it. And then there's also these mice. And look at this old crone. I think that's great. So thank you so much for thinking of me with that. She asked if I'd like them. I was like, sure. I actually have a bee that I'm going to be working on that I almost finished last year and just didn't. So I love doing those sculptures. They're sort of little, crafty things. They're fun to put in the middle of your displays. And then I was at Silver Needle for my niece's wedding, and these were half price. I've had this on my wish list for so long. The House of Berries Chapel Road, Turkey Hollow Farm. That actually is the same address as my Miss Baxter's house, so I think it's kind of a set. But I've always wanted to do that. I love it. I might change that gun to a rake like a lot of people have done. I don't like guns. And then I, since I finished 2 June pieces, I let myself buy a word play because I'm working through collecting these from Brenda Gervais, and they're kind of hard to find. You can find them on Etsy and you can find them from her website, but I get them at Silver Needle. They always have them in stock, and so I treated myself to that. But that is all of the haul, I believe. There might have been a few other little things in here, these really pretty little tags and things that I got just for crafty things. So thank you so much. Like I said, things have been a little bit weird, but I appreciate all the kind thoughts and messages I've gotten. I'm doing okay. This is kind of segueing into the updates with life updates. We've been pretty busy. I definitely found homeschooling my third child, my son, a lot more time consuming than I thought it would be. Not that it was anything that I begrudged, but it just took more time than I realized it would. And so this year's been a little bit of a transitioning, just figuring things out with how that works for him. And then we're actually going to bring my 4th child, my final daughter, home to homeschool next year. So I'll be homeschooling too. So things have just gotten a little more hands-on with that. And that's great. I am happy to do it and so blessed to be able to. But it did, kind of make me readjust how I was spending my time. And I didn't always do that the best. And also just with creativity for me, I think I've shared with you before, I read when I'm sad and I create when I'm happy. I've done a lot of reading, let me just say. Something about losing 3 family members, just, both Jim's parents and my mom within 6 months. There's just been ripples of grief with it, and I'll be doing very well, and for the most part, I'm doing fine, but it just kind of knocked a security out for me. I found something that my husband said in one of his Bible studies a couple months ago that kind of resonated where he said in Zechariah chapter 9 that they were in a pit, but it was a waterless pit. And it was odd to me that, the Bible can be so specific about things. And they said it's waterless because just like Joseph, when his brothers threw him in that pit, it didn't kill him. He was in a pit, which is not a place you want to be, but it's not full of water. You're not going to drown, and I kind of felt like that kind of spoke to me, like I have been in a pit. It's not full of water. I'm not going to die, but I have just felt so little creative inspiration, so little looking forward to things, just sadness, and it's been a season of that for me, with glimpses of, sparks of, some days, Jim has commented, my husband, a few days, he said, today felt pretty normal, and it's like that when things are so low and so hard. when a day feels kind of good, it's remarkable. And that's becoming more and more frequently. I don't mean to sound like this is a big pity party. I'm just trying to explain where I was filming, I thought about it last year, or in 2021, even after I had been on an oxygen cannula. You can look back on that video back in 2021. I can barely breathe, but I was ready to film a Flosstube, and it was like, why are you doing this? It just brought me a lot of joy, and this still does bring me a lot of joy. But my motivation and my hopefulness for things was just really flat. And certain things have helped. I've started watching Flosstube again. I had kind of backed away from that, which, that can get a little obsessive. You don't want to do that, but it's encouraging to see your friends making things and being creative and just enjoying that together. I think that's been a help. Also, I started an exercise class with 2 friends at my church, and we are working out really hard, and that definitely is also motivating, just to feel a little better and to have some more energy and health improvement. It's a fly. So those things definitely have helped, and just time, giving myself a little grace to say, I'm in a little bit of a pit right now, but it's not full of water. It's not forever, and it's going to be okay. So goodness, I'm going to eat this fly that's buzzing me. But I appreciate, like I said, your patience and your kindness. So many people have reached out. And don't worry if you feel like you're bothering me. It's not bothering me at all for me to say that you're thinking about me. That just really warms my heart and makes me feel grateful that you spend time with me and that you care what I have to share, care about what I have to share, and want to lift me up and pray for me. All those things. I am so grateful that God put this community in my life in the time that I did, not knowing that I was going to have such a whirlwind of loss and struggle. And so again, thank you for watching. Thank you for spending time with me. I hope you are well. I hope you are looking forward to things, feeling creative, feeling that spark. And even when you don't, trying. And sometimes it happens that way, where you just have to sit down. And I had been procrastinating on some of these things for so many weeks and months, and it feels good to have it done. So I encourage you to try that as well. I'll be out of town for about a week. We're going on vacation, and I don't know what my schedule will be back when I get back, but I hope to film again in before the end of June. So in the end of all my videos, I'm a little rusty, but let me remember, Psalm chapter 90 verse 17 says, "May the favor of the Lord our God be upon us and establish the work of our hands." Thanks for watching.